should start with modernizing the infrastructure of the National Bureau of Statistics, because this reflects our image as a Republic of South Sudan, an oil-producing country, and we are also generating revenue. We are members of the EAC, and we are now becoming part of the Africa Continental Free Trade Area. And if we look at the statistic departments, and it is this institution actually that produce all the data and approve all the data that are actually acceptable anywhere. You cannot quote any data that is not generated by National Bureau of Statistics. And these actually show the importance of these institutions. So your role and dedication is actually very important, and we look forward to see that their bill, the National Bureau of Statistics bill, is also passed. Actually, I'm surprised that to now it has not been done. This should have been done long time ago, because now since independence in 2011, we are now more than 12 years, and those are things that should have actually been done. So your collaboration with the National Bureau of Statistics is actually very important. Statistics for the welfare of the people, statistics for unemployment, statistics on so many things. So up to this end, I want to take opportunity also to recognize the presence of representative from Ministry of Investment. And the Secretary from Ministry of Investment is here, so your presence is recognized. Before we proceed, I need to call my colleague to say something.
I think I'm the four messages I'm reading here in recognition of what Honorable Major said and some of the speakers that said talked before him. We are saying statistics is the only science, listen carefully, the only science that enables different experts using the same figures to draw different conclusions. So if you use statistics, different experts can use statistics, but they come up with different conclusions. Statistics is the grammar of science. So if you are a scientist and you don't know statistics, then you don't know grammar. Just like somebody who claims to know English and is not talking grammar. Statistics are just summaries of thousands of stories. Tell a few of them stories to help make the data meaningful. And let me narrow it down to the theme. Recent research shows that an average return of $32 for every $1 invested in strengthening data in low and middle income countries. This is from Global Partnership for Sustainable Development data. So these are some of the things that we can go as take away. Thank you. You can continue.
This end, Honorable Undersecretary, First Undersecretary, we welcome you to the podium.
Thank you, MC. Honorable Benjamin Ayali, Undersecretary for Planning, Ministry of Finance and Planning. Honorable Isaiah Cholarwai, the Chairperson of NBS, Honorable Undersecretary for Investment, Honorable Majur Babur, our development partners, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. I'm happy to be here, not only because of this function, not only of this function, Honorable Isaiah, 23 years ago, I was a member of this institution because that was the time before it was baptized. It was known as database during those times of Dr. Luka Byung, John C. Kulang, those of Iliaba, those of Madame Margaret, and many others. We moved across the forests of this country trying to get the data. But seeing it is said, you know, when you are born and you grow up, you get married and relocate to your own house. That's why I'm not here. And it is important that I'm here seeing the progress and growth of these institutions as it becomes National Bureau of Standard. I concur 100% with Honorable Major Babur on his statement that I didn't want to come here, by the way, because of all that he mentioned. But when I saw the word modernization and transformation, I decided to come. If you go outside the country, you would see on the board the population of those countries. You would not go to the statistics department to know what is the population, those who are dying and those who are being born. Take example of Egypt. You can just stand along the way and see on the board the data going up and down. That's why I was happy seeing the modernizations and transformation of NBS, so that we know on our streets, we should know what is the population of this country. It is indeed what can enable us in economic sector, and I'm happy that Benjamin Ayala is here. When determining the per capita, is done out of a population. We cannot determine it alone, knowing what is the per capita of this country, not knowing the population of the country. And a lot of factors are there that can be incorporated into our planning based on the assessments that we used to do. I can remember one time, I can recall, September 11, 2001, we were deep in the forest. We went out for annual need assessment. And that time we were not yet a country, but we wanted to know what were the needs of our people those days. As independent country having these institutions, we owe you a lot in economic sector, in financial sector, for you to grow and for you to transform to the modern statistics department. I believe my colleague Benjamin Ayala will take the same message from Honorable Major Babur and put them, though it is there, it has been there, it has been in the plan, but we need to add more so that we don't feel ashamed when we have our guests here. Honorable Chair, Honorable Isaiah, I'm here on behalf of the Minister of Trade. And then when you were addressing the empty chairs, when all of the ministers and the senior people invited were not there, I assume taking care of all of them, starting from investment, finance, trade, until when Honorable Benjamin Ayali came, and I told you back to the owner. The rest that I would want to add to those, I will leave them behind to my colleague Benjamin Ayali to talk about them, because he is on our behalf as a country, as government institutions, is the one holding the scoop of how the resources of this country are allocated. And we are nearly approaching the time of planning, the time of allocation of resources, as we approach to the last quarter of the financial year. So, Honorable Benjamin, kindly, though you have it in mind that you would consider the NBS, but in the upcoming financial year plans, give them an extra consideration. Today, as mentioned by those previous speakers, that the theme for this year is the modernizing data ecosystem to accelerate the implementation of Africa Continental Free Trade Area, as was chosen to raise awareness among decision makers, technical financial partners, data producers and users, researchers, and the public of the importance of official statistics and big data to accelerate the implementation of the agreement establishing the African Continental Free Trade Area and promote intra-continental trade. It is a sweet statement being repeated by all the speakers who came here because of that term, modernizing the data ecosystem. Let's do all it takes to be part of the world that is celebrating today's ban. The creation of the African Continental Free Trade Area is the realization of the long-held dream of the founding fathers of the Organization of African Unity to build an African common market. As this year's theme is aligned to the African Union Agenda 2063 that calls for modernizing data ecosystem in the continent for production and utilization of high-quality official statistics, seize the trade and investment opportunities. Over and above that, the theme is meant to impress upon all African nations to promote understanding about the importance of statistics in all dimensions of life, including society, economy, and environment. Let me not hesitate to point out that it is encouraging to note that today almost all African nations have recognized the need for better trade and investment statistics, not only as a tool for evidence-based policy design planning, but also to better support policy implementation, monitor progress, and evaluate outcomes and impact of development initiatives. In South Sudan, this is evidence-based by the use of trade statistics in monitoring and evaluating performance on national development plans, Africa's Agenda 2063, and the Sustainable Development Goals. Ladies and gentlemen, the national statistics system plays a central role in modernizing data value chain processes, including data generation, dissemination, documentation, with a view to attaining the timely production and use of reliable official trade statistics, which are critically for evidence-based policymaking. Additionally, civil society, academia, and the private sector all have complementary and supplementary roles to play as stakeholders who provide further analysis to the official statistics. This agenda framework, coupled with those at country level, have led to ever-increasing data demands arising from their implementations. In 2020, the Statistical Commission for Africa commenced the journey of modernizing official statistics by endorsing the formation of the African Group on Transformations and Modernizations of Official Statistics, which will strategically guide and coordinate the work. The implementation of the roadmap for the transformation and modernization of official statistics in Africa, 2023 to 2030, is expected to bring about a significant improvement in the efficiency of all data processes for monitoring and reporting on the fulfillment of the 2030 Agenda and Agenda 2063. To strengthen the data system for development of trade and investment statistics, the National Bureau of Statistics of South Sudan has to facilitate the adoption of international standards which harmonize methodologies, concepts, definitions, and classifications. These standards ensure that statistics produced by NBS and the business sector through surveys, censuses, and administrative data are fit for purpose, comparable, and as such, meet the quality requirement for official statistics. I cannot conclude without buttressing the fact that for the country to produce quality official trade statistics, all stakeholders need to collaborate effectively. This includes the business community in its entirety. In this regard, I wish to urge all government agencies to provide data upon request to NBS so as to enable the timely productions of quality data to the trade and investment sectors. Answering to this, regular clarion calls for promote evidence-based policy formulations, planning, and decision-making. We need to do a lot of things together with our policymakers and politicians. During the census a few years ago, many of our people were not counted by intentions because of the cultural aspects and thoughts. As mentioned earlier by Honorable Major, that our people hesitate to count cows and children and wives. And this is still why we really don't know exactly how many are we. We were all involved in the process of collecting the data, knowing the census results, but yet some of the areas were not covered due to certain conditions. Some of the areas were not covered because our people declined to respond. But this time, before we move forward, I do not know the fate of elections and the process of elections that is declared to be coming soon. But should it happen, that we have to know ourselves, we have to educate our people on the reasons that why we count them. Starting from myself and you, back home, everybody should be educated that we are counting you and your children for the purpose of delivering service to you. There's no recruitment anymore. During the war, if you are asked how many are you, you will know that tomorrow they will come and pick one, so that that person become a soldier. But today, if we know how many are you, we are coming with additional service. And this is what we want to communicate to our people, that we want to deliver service, we want to bring more schools, more hospitals. And this is the reason why we would want to know the people. If we keep on hiding those numbers, we will only be building our reserve, because nobody is intended to be given as a ghost name. So we'll only provide the figures to those who are counted. We'll provide service to those who are counted. And that service will become more scarce and scarce every time you hide the numbers that you are producing. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.